Hello and welcome back to Suspended Fanimation. I'm your host, Dennis Patholkis, and this is Titans, Season 2, Episode 3, Ghosts. Welcome, everybody. I'm going to get a little business out of the way first, as I normally do here. So, yeah, it is all about the dick jokes. It really is. If you like what you see here, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. You can also hit the dislike button. I just asked you to down in the comment section and tell me what it is you don't like about the show. Give me some constructive criticism. Also, if you want to see when I'm going to be on live again next, you can hit the bell down below there. If you've already hit the bell, don't hit it again. It will unclick it. You can go into the bell settings and get as many or as little notifications as you want. You can also go to my webpage as well, suspendedfanimation.com. See the schedule up there. And I also mirror that over my Facebook page as well. I have a Twitter, I have an Instagram, and I have a Patreon page as well. I just don't have any tiers set up as of yet. And like Penn says, like, share, and subscribe. All right. So I know not all of you have seen it, but I'm still going to say this. Spoiler alert. I am going to spoil the shit out of the episode. If you have not seen the episode, go and watch it. Come on back. This will be a video, and you can comment down below in the comment section. Thank you, Viking Bitch, for the paddle. All right. Let's see what we got going on here. Give myself a little bit of water there first. So, and clear the pipes a bit. So, we open up with Jason, excuse me, Jason, I can't speak lately. Yeah. Jason showing Dick and Rachel, Garth's already in there too, who Rose's father is. And they're going through his background. He was a former member of Hive. So we get a little name drop here. We get a little bit of Easter eggs that are thrown in here too from a lot of DC lore. So he's a member of Hive who underwent a series of bioenhancements. And so Dick says that Slade is the unfinished business that Titans had. And he was one of 35 people that were experimented on. He was the only one that survived. And they're showing the aftermath, and you're seeing guys with heads cut off, things like that. And he supposedly retired after his son Jericho was killed. Yeah. Or died, I should say. Dick says, basically Garth and Jason are like, well, that's as far as we can go. We couldn't get any further with the computer. And Dick's like, that's fine. I'll take it from here, is what he says. It's like, all right, sure. So Jason's a little bit miffed because, he's the computer hacker and all that stuff and does not like being sidelined, if you will. So all of a sudden the alarm goes off and they see down below that it's actually Donna, Hank, and Dawn. And Dawn says over the intercom there, she goes, I guess the door code's been changed. And so they let them in, and it's a reunion. Everyone's like, oh, great, everyone's here, and all that kind of stuff. And that's when, Dick asks if they've been followed. And Hank says, no, we covered our tracks. Then he looks at the kids and goes, and we need to talk to you alone. And Jason's still standing there after, Rachel and Garth leave. And, Hank's like, no, I meant we need to talk to him alone. You need to leave, kind of thing. And Jason is kind of like the kid that thinks he's a bit more grown up than he is, and he's not. Yeah. So our new computer system at work is called the Hive. I think we're doing. So Penn, it's actually capital H, capital I, capital V, capital E. It actually is an acronym. Hive, kind of like AIM is an acronym in the Marvel universe. Hive was an acronym as well. I can't remember what it is offhand. It's been a while, but my brain is not operating. Yeah. So Hank blames this entire thing about this target being put on their back from Jason's announcement on TV, basically saying that the Titans are back. And that's the reason why Dr. Light is trying to pick them off one by one. And Dick's like, well, we're all together now, strength in numbers kind of thing. And Hank's like, yeah, fuck the rah-rah speech. So let's just get him and get it over with kind of thing. And then Dick goes, so they're gonna go off to their old rooms. And then when Dick goes, oh, wait a minute, I got something else I got to show you. So I rescued this girl, didn't know who she was, and then I'm going through the footage and all this stuff, and this is what I picked up. And he sees an image of Deathstroke coming out of a door, And he says, yeah, Deathstroke's in San Francisco, and I've got his daughter. She's in the other room. And they're like, are you fucking kidding me? I thought he was dead. And he's like, nope, he's still alive. And yeah, they said he's the reason why Titans was shut down. Why are you just kind of like poking the bear by having his daughter here too? And Dick says, you know what? That's my problem. I'll take care of her. All we're going to deal with is Dr. Light to get him off your back. Deathstroke's my problem. Famous last words, of course. In the meantime, we see Corey wake up and she's in handcuffs in a hotel room. And the guy who took her is sitting there watching cartoons. He's watching some Daffy Duck cartoons and laughing. And she's trying out her powers. And of course, it doesn't work. And he goes, yeah, I thought that's what you would try. He goes, just wait a second. He goes, the cartoon's almost over with. And finally, she's like, take the handcuffs off. She's like, nope, can't do it. And he says, you know what? You need to come home. You've been served, and it's time for you to wear the crown, is what he says, as he puts it. And he shows her this holographic image of, I guess, a royal decree, if you will. And she tells him, you know what? So this the royal guard after me. He goes, well, your sister did, Blackfire. And she's like, oh, shit. All right. And she just happens to send the one guard who I slept with. And he goes, well, actually, I volunteered, is what he tells her. And his name, by the way, is Fade. They didn't say it in the episode. I actually had to look that up. But yeah, that's what his name is. So he finally removes the handcuffs and he says, well, do you want to really make the hotel room a fireball here? Because it was a little more expensive overlooking the courtyard. And that's when the doorbell rings and he has room service being sent up. And he goes, well, at least, we've got some food. Wait until after the food. So, yeah. Dick ends up talking to Rose about Slade, and he wants to know why her daddy's in San Francisco. And she's like, I don't know. We really don't talk all that much, especially since after he killed my brother. Yes, Slade killed Jericho. And she goes, he's the unfinished business I have. I was trying to kill him when he took out my eye, she says. And that's why I was in rough shape when you found me. She goes, I would have had him too if you hadn't have taken me. Yeah, she was unconscious at the time. Pretty much anybody could have done anything to her at that point. So she says that basically Jericho was killed because he fell in with the wrong crowd. And yeah, so that was the reason why he did all of that. In the meantime, Garth, Rachel, and Jason decide this is a great time to go downstairs, put on some blindfolds, and fight, do some little training. And it's Garth and Rachel versus Jason. And they're kind of getting their asses handed to them by Jason. And Jason actually uses the wooden stick and makes contact with Rachel. And she falls to the ground, and all of a sudden her powers start manifesting. We see the blackness coming out of her and all that stuff. And they all take off their blindfolds, and she grabs Jason and floats up into the air and has him, and she's choking him, and he's pleading with her. And we see her actually make the swords that are in the stand turn. She's going to throw them on that. And Garth is yelling for her too, and she finally kind of snaps out of it and drops him down. And Jason freaks the fuck out and says, stay the fuck away from me. You're a freak. I don't want you anywhere near me. And that's when Dick shows up and goes, everything okay? And Jason's like, yeah, we were just training, which is kind of weird that he didn't rat her out for that, which is just kind of a weird thing. So Dick says, he needs Rachel and Garth. And he goes, what about me? And he goes, keep training, is what he tells Jason. Jason's pissed off about this because he's being sidelined all this time. So Corey, in the meantime, is having dinner with Fade. And he gives her phone back, and she notices the missed messages because I need to make a phone call. So she calls up Donna, and Donna fills her in that, they're in San Francisco now. What happened? And she goes, well, do you need me? And Donna's like, no, I think we've got it. I'll call you if we need you, kind of thing. She goes, okay. So Rose, in the meantime, and Rachel end up talking as well. And we got Rose kind of trying to get a handle on what this place is, what Titan's Tower is. And they also start talking about their dads, how they both have really horrible dads, and they're both fighting their dads. And that, Rachel killed her dad, and that, Rose wants to kill her dad as well. So, yeah. And they kind of bond over that a little bit. And also, we've got a Ravager, or I should say Rose, sporting the eye patch now that Dick gave her. Dick gave her an eye patch. So yes, Dick helped her with her one eye. Dick tells Garth, that Dr. Light needs to power up at some point, and that look for any fluctuations in the power grid. That he's probably going to be drawing power out of the power grid. Yeah, and we see that Dr. Light is over at Deathstroke's place, and he is pissed off that he's been locked away for 5 years from the Titans, and he's going on and on about wanting to get payback. And he says, "What's the plan? Why'd you break me out of prison?" And Slade says, "Okay, I'm going to put them in crisis. We're going to see who leads and who follows, and isolate the weak and cull the herd." And Dr. Light says, "Oh, mind fuck. Okay, I'm on board with that." And he goes, "I just want to make sure that they suffer first, for putting me away." And he makes a joke at Deathstroke's expense about his eye, and Deathstroke doesn't say anything about it, which he thinks he pisses him off at first, which he probably did. And he's kind of an asshole, Dr. Light. Let's just put it that way. So Hank and Dawn, in the meantime, are talking, and Hank is thinking about putting on the suit again. She's like, "No." She goes, "Because, when you put on the suit, you need the pills. You're just going to go back to using again." And she goes, "That's exactly what an addict would say, that maybe this time it'll be different." And of course, it's not going to be different, because he'd have to go back to the pills and all that kind of stuff all over again. She goes, "So it's not an option." And he goes, "Oh, so we're just going to go back to the horse ranch, yeah?" And she's like, "Yeah, horse ranch. Once we're done with this shit, we're done." And Corey, in the meantime, is talking to Fide, and they're out in the street, and she says, "You know what? The reason why I like Earth is because I like to make my own decisions. I can walk on the street here unnoticed." Because he was saying that, don't they know that they're among royalty, that they should be walking on the other side of the street? And she goes, "It doesn't matter here." And she goes, "Status doesn't matter here." Actually, it does. And she says, "I feel free here. I can make choices here." She goes, "I can marry outside of my station." She goes, "I don't have to marry someone who is at the same station as me." And she goes, so he says, "So you and I?" And she goes, "Yeah, you and I could get married if I choose you." And he goes, "Well, what would need to be done?" She goes, "Well, you'd have to show me that you're worthy," kind of thing. And he walks over to a window and smashes it, grabs a tiara out of a jewelry store window, and the alarm's blaring and everything. She goes, "Didn't you read the manual about, crime?" He goes, "Sorry, I didn't get past the food and drink part." And they run off. Yeah. So Donna and Dick end up talking, and she asks him, "What are you doing coming back here? With what happened? And what are you doing at Titan's Tower? And who are you now that you burned the costume and that someone else is Robin now?" And then she asks him, "Do the Titans, the new kids, do they know about what happened?" And he's like, "No, they don't need to know." And he goes, "Yeah, they do. They need to know our sins of the past, of what happened, and learn from them so they don't repeat the same mistakes." And he's like, "Don't worry about it." He goes, "I'm going to be the camp counselor," because she called him a camp counselor. And he goes, "I'm the one who's doing this, unless you want to, join camp as well and become a camp counselor as well," is what he tells her. And she's like, "Nope. After this, I'm done." So Garth interrupts him and says he wants to show Dick something, and he says he saw a a Dr. Light pattern, that all these different smaller transformers have been getting power drained from them, and that just then the power goes out. He goes, "Yep, Dr. Light's been siphoning them all off from a junction box." Yeah, so he's down at the stadium, and that's where it's obviously a trap. And that's when Hank says, "Well, how about the four of us go?" And Robin, of course, is suited up and wants to go. And Dick's like, "No, it's just us. We're going." They don't have any suits on, and they go to the stadium. Who's there but Dr. Light? He's siphoning light off of the stadium lights, and they're all on comms. and all in civilian clothes. And Dick says, he comes out and runs into Dr. Light, and Dr. Light's like, "Oh, good, you're here, all of you." And Hank's like, "Well, so much for the the surprise there." And that's when Dr. Light takes a shot at Dick. He ends up taking a shot at him using his light blast, misses, and in the big flash of light, takes off, starts running, and Donna sees where he's gone. Dick follows. Hank and Don are close by. Hank actually gets injured. He gets his leg fried a little bit, and Donna uses her speed to catch up to him. Uses her lasso to grab a motorcycle and slams it down on top of him, pinning him. And before they can get to him to wrap things up, a bus is turning around the corner and coming right towards them. And Dick is worried that, of course, that Dr. Light is going to kill this busload full of people, and he hesitates, which allows Dr. Light to do a flash of light, and he disappears. Yeah. So Corey and Fede are talking in the car about, breaking the rules, and he tells her that, I always thought that you'd be a great queen for you'd be a queen for the ages, as he says. And she asks, what would happen if he returned without her? She goes, "Oh yeah, you'd be sentenced to death," kind of thing. Yeah. And he says that they really need her back home, and without her, everyone else is going to suffer there. So obviously, some really bad shit is going down at home that we don't know about as of yet. Which, if you've read the comics and you've seen the cartoon and stuff like that, you do know what's happening. Because I think that's where they're going with this, which would be kind of cool. And I'm going to talk about some of the production value and stuff like this at the end here. Let me just go through the recap real quick first, and then we'll go through some of that about what I did and didn't like about this episode. So Hank, of course, blames Dick for not taking the shot and Dr. Light getting away. And Dick said, "You know what? He would have killed that busload full of people. So that's the reason why I didn't take the shot." And Jason comes down and he lays into Dick even more about not taking them with them, and that Dr. Light is gone. And uh, Hank and of course and Don have gone to the infirmary to take care of Hank's leg along with Donna. And as Jason is ripping into Dick, he kind of curls up his fists and he looks back at Garth, and Garth is like, "No." And Dick even tells him, "Don't try it." And Jason takes a swing at Dick, and Dick just slams him to the ground. Dick slaps him pretty much, right to the ground, and offers his hand to bring him back up because it's a pretty hard slam. And Jason, of course, slaps his hand away and says, "No, I don't need you," kind of thing. Yeah. So Jason, in the meantime, he's in the gym. Excuse me, not Jason. Dick is in the gym, you know, training because he's pissed off at this point. When Rose comes in, she goes, "You know what? I need to learn how to fight Cyclops style at some point, and I need you to train me. I need you to train me to do some kill moves." And he's like, "I don't do that. I don't do kill moves." She goes, "Then what's the point? Why are you teaching defense if you're going to have these kids go out there? You need to teach something." And she goes, "Well," she grabs some swords. She goes, "Let's see what you've got." And he grabs the bow staff, and they start fighting. And at one point, she breaks his bow staff in two, which turns into, if those of you who know the comics and know Nightwing, Nightwing has what's called I'm going to murder the name, but Extrema sticks. Extrema sticks, there we go. That are two longer kind of sticks, almost like nunchakas without the chain attached to them, but longer. And you can beat the shit out of people with that. Yeah, they're not shown a lot in movies. They're used, but not a lot. And he ends up winning without knocking her out. Yeah, she gets hit by Dick. So Corey, in the meantime, gets a call from Rachel, and Rachel wants to know if she's coming back since everyone else is back, but they're also going to be leaving. And Corey's like, "No, I'm sorry. I need to return home. I need to take care of some stuff." And Rachel basically tells her, she goes, "When I fought my father, I became something different." She goes, "And now I'm fighting all the time to keep it down, keep it inside." And she goes, "I don't know what's going to happen if I let it out." And she goes, "I'm very tired. I can't do it anymore." And you know, Corey asks if she talked to Dick about this, and of course she hasn't. And Corey says, "Okay, don't worry about it. I'm coming." So in the meantime, Fade has crashed his ship, obviously, because he is that bad of a guard. And they've gone back to Corey's ship, which is still in the same place, the same warehouse that they left it at. And the ship scans both of them and comes out of cloaking and opens up. And she lets Fade walk ahead of her, and then she closes the door on him and locks it. He's like, "You're fucking kidding me." She goes, "Don't worry, I'll be back. The ship has 10 years worth of food, so you'll be okay." And he says, "They're going to send others after you." And she goes, "Let them come." She goes, "I'll take care of it." Yeah. So Dick, in the meantime, is talking to Hank. Hank is, nursing his wound. And Hank apologizes. He goes, "You know what? You saved a busload full of people." He goes, "I was being kind of a dick. I was being a little bit of a hothead. Sorry about it." And Hank says, "Why did you open this place up again?" And Dick says, "Because it feels like home." And that's the reason why he's opened this whole thing back up again. So Jason is talking to Garth, and he says, he's telling Garth that the reason that the Titans Tower is reopened is because it's for fuck ups and losers like himself. And Garth's like, "Hey, that's not me. I'm not broken." And Jason's like, "Oh, no, not you. I'm talking about me." And Garth's like, "Okay." And he says, "Well, I'm looking for heat signatures because Dr. Light absorbs so much light. He should be, like radioactive at this point." And he goes, "But I'm not seeing any heat signatures." And Jason goes, "Well, what about the underground down here?" He goes, "I know they have fire systems, fire detection systems underground. How about that?" So, of course, he logs, hacks into that system, and you see this big bright spot. And they're like, "Well, that's probably where he's at. I got to go tell Jason. I got to go tell Dick," is what Garth says. And Jason's like, "Wait. We should go check it out first." Yeah. And then we'll go and tell Dick about this. He goes, "Come on, I need the win." So, of course, they leave, and they're in costume, both of them. Yeah. Going down into a dark tunnel. Yeah. Carrying flashlights. Yeah. And they split up because Jason's like, "Yeah, let's just split up." And Garth even goes, "Have you ever watched a horror movie? That's what actually happens. That's how people die." And who, of course, does Jason run into but Dr. Light? And Dr. Light hits him a couple times with a couple of light blasts and then starts beating the shit out of him. And while Jason's down at one point because Dr. Light is gloating over him, uh, what happens to flash through Jason's mind but Dick's teaching? And yeah, he got taught by Dick. And I guess that Dick's teaching runs deep. So he ends up starting to kick the shit out of Dr. Light. I mean, kick the shit out of him. He repeatedly kicks him in the balls, punches him in the face, and he's just going to town on him. And all of a sudden he stops because Dr. Light is laughing. And he looks behind him, and who's standing behind him but Deathstroke? And we cut over to Garth in the other tunnel, and he hears Jason scream, and he's like, "Oh shit." And he goes running over there, and all he sees is a blood streak on the floor, which he goes to follow. And that's where we leave off on the episode. So yeah. So how this show right now is differing from Doom Patrol and Swamp Thing is that this is starting to feel a lot like CW, only they're allowing some violence to it, some blood stuff, and swearing. That's pretty much what's going on. And they've got a little bit of a bigger production value, so the costumes are better too. But yeah, so while the story has gotten a little bit better from the first season, it's actually feeling a lot like CW. We have a lot of people talking to each other instead of in hallways now. Everyone's talking in the kitchen. I'm not saying it's CW level yet, Pen. It is coming towards that level because of what they're doing. I'm hoping they pull it back. I really do. I need them to pull it back because it's something that it has potential. It has some really good potential here. You have a lot of characters going on right now. You actually maybe have too many characters at this point. And yes, it is a lot better than season 1. I agree with you. But um I think by not having and yes, it's episode 3. It's 13 episodes in this season. It's episode 3. I liked, I like this episode. Don't get me wrong. I like this episode. It was good. It just needs to move away from a lot of talking and get more into the story and move the story along a little bit better. Uh, we need to have less talking about stuff, because we had people talking about, literally they're talking while sitting at tables is what was going on. I was actually thinking back on it, and everyone who's talking, instead of talking in hallways, everyone's sitting at a table when they're talking to each other. uh yeah, I did like the little Easter eggs that are going on in here too. Like, we got Hive mentioned. We had, Dick using the 2 sticks, which is what becomes, Nightwing's weapons of choice. And also, I don't know if you noticed in the background, there's trophies from the Titans from their previous missions from the old Titans. They actually took trophies, which is part of the comic. And you see, like, in the background when they're coming down the hallways, there's little trophies on the wall of their missions that they've done, which I thought was kind of interesting. How long will we have to wait until we get the payoff flashback? Yeah, I know, Joe. That's the other thing too, is like this would have been the perfect episode to have that payoff flashback, to say, hey, the gang's all here. What happened? And like when Hank is sitting there and he's sitting in the costume room and talking about putting the costume back on again, they could have had a flashback then. They could have used this to actually do a couple of different flashbacks and gotten an idea of what the hell happened. I know they're going to save it for a long, drawn out episode of what happened and telling it to the kids, per se. And that's when the payback is going to come. But I don't think we're going to get that until episode 5, maybe 6. Because next episode, we're supposed to get Aqualad. Episode 4, if you take a look at the picture that they had up on the screen, it is Aqualad. So they're just bringing in more and more characters is what they're doing at this point. Good night, Viking bitch. Yeah. Yeah, Penn, that's who it is. It's Aqualad. And of course they've got Superboy as well, because at the end of last season, at the very, very end of the credits of last season, they introduced Superboy and Crypto. So we've got that as well. Which I know he comes in. Actually, they're not going to do the flashback about what happened until everyone shows up. So, man, we're not going to get this until episode 8, maybe 9. Yeah, which is kind of weird. Yeah, I'm going to say 8 or 9. I don't think 7 or 8, because I know that 4, 5, and 6 are all introductions of new people. 7 is probably going to be a gelling of the new people, and of course the mistake that's going to happen. And then 8 or 9 is where they're going to have to come clean. Dick's going to have to come clean about what happened to the old Titans, about why they disbanded, yeah, and what happened. Yeah, that sounds about right. And then of course 10, 11, 12, you're trying to get back into the swing of things, working together as a team. And then of course 13 is your redemption, or 12 and 13 are your redemption arcs. Yeah. I hate when I can actually see that. I mean, and as long as they keep Akiva Goldsman out of this completely, they need to keep him as far away from the writer's room as possible. Just let him be a producer. That's it. Same thing with Jeff Johns. Give Jeff Johns like about 5 more titles of comics to write, and that should work. Yeah, Dick definitely needs to come clean. He really does. Dick's been rubbing people the wrong way quite a bit this season. And, well, at least Dick's not full of himself. Will Todd make to the end of the season? Yeah, he will. I think he will. Penn says it's kind of predictable as long as they do it well. I'm okay with that. Yeah. Yeah. Right now, Joe, um, Curran, the guy who's playing Jason Todd, is actually very popular. I actually like him, even though he's a dick, of a Robin. I kind of like him the best, to tell you the truth, out of all the characters that we've got going so far, because he's kind of the wild card, the loose cannon, and he plays it actually pretty well. He's actually a not a bad actor, to tell you the truth, and I'm kind of digging his arc so far. 6 seasons in a movie? No, that's not going to happen, Mr. Roboto. Todd going off on his own was so predictable. Yeah, well, we knew that was going to happen. I mean, he was pissed off. I just thought it was funny too that he had the sensei moment where the sensei talks. He remembers the sensei's teaching and is able to bounce back and kick the bad guy's ass. But then, of course, gets his ass handed to him by the even bigger bad guy. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and one other thing before I forget here. So after on episode 13, when I do the recap and review of it, that'll be the time that I'm going to be doing. Yes, I'll be giving away this poster. So, yeah, it'll be the comment section for episode 13. Everyone's going to have a week to put it all in, and then of course, whoever wins it, wins it. I'll send it off to them. Only to U.S. residents, by the way. So there we go. I just can't afford international shipping rates. International shipping rates kill me. They're freaking expensive. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like I said, it wasn't a bad episode. It just a little bit predictable, and like I said, following a little too closely to the CW stuff without having the Dawson's Creekness of it creeping in. Yeah. That's the one thing that kills the CW stuff, is it's still rooted in Dawson's Creek. And yeah, it never will lose that. It never, ever will. Unfortunately. Hey, Jar. You came in right at the end. No, you cannot opt for the car, Mr. Roboto. You can get nothing and like it. Never watched Dawson's Creek, so I'll take your word for it. You didn't miss anything, Pen. But pretty much it pervades all of the CW stuff. Yeah. So if you like what you see here, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Also, if you're still on the fence about joining up, you're going to see at the very end of the video, there's going to be a video up here that is plucked from my vast video library based on the algorithms of all the stuff you've been watching. And up here is going to be Is It Worth My Time? The Rook edition is what that's going to be up there. Tomorrow is going to be Saturday Morning Blast Off tomorrow morning. Sunday is Preacher. Monday I'm off. Tuesday is going to be another episode of Is It Worth My Time? And I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet, to tell you the truth. I'll figure something out. Yeah. Thanks, Pen. Yes, and Saturday Morning Blast Off does rock. It's a lot of fun. Check out the schedule on the website, as Penn has put up there, suspendedfanimation.com. I also have it on my Facebook page as well. And there's also a Facebook group as well. So if you guys have Facebook like us old folks do, you can come into the Facebook group there and post and chat, things like that. So, the Rook was an experience of being rooked. Yeah, it was, EJR. It wasn't great. Yeah. No, you're good, Pen. You're better than the other two wrenches. I mean, come on, they just bowed out already. I'm kidding, Fanopi and Viking, bitch. You don't need to hurt me. Yeah. Yeah. So again, I will see you guys tomorrow for Saturday morning blast off. This has been fun. Thank you, everybody who joined me tonight in the chat. And thank you if you made it this far in the video as well. It's been lots of fun. And yeah, it's like I said, this isn't the best out of all the DC Universe series that they have going on right now. Again, Doom Patrol is still the best, followed closely by Swamp Thing. Swamp Thing is actually really good. I don't know why they canceled it other than the financial stuff, but hey. Hey, I'm Batman is here. Yeah. As they say in Texas, El Paso. Nice, Ejar. Nice. But you're from Texas? Anyway. All right. And yes, Viking Bitch has some new art up as well. Nice. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to let you go for the evening. So I will see you tomorrow for Saturday morning blast off. Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you may finally remember what your sensei taught you in the middle of getting your ass kicked, only to use it to have a bigger big bad come behind you and fuck you up anyway. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.